French no luxury.
Discover the all-new 252 DS Automobiles range at Hugo Luna Motors.
Experience pure driving pleasure with DS Automobiles, the French luxury car company.
DS's premium range stands out through its charismatic style, interior refinement, sophisticated technology and first-class comfort. Book your test drive today and discover the magic of DS Automobiles at hugolunamotors.ie.
Encore with Claire O'Brien, arts and entertainment for the Midlands. With Padder's Bar, In Moat, Gertie Brown's Bar and Bistro Athlone, and the Cellar Bistro Strand Street Athlone.
Good evening and welcome to Encore, your weekly arts and entertainment show on Midlands 103 with Zoe Ryan. And my God, what a week it has been for the arts, and what a lineup of activities and performances in store locally in the coming weeks. Speaking of, running to pay the cost of performing in Westmeath, young talent at work in Laois, and Fright Night, or should I say week, comes to Offaly. Multidisciplinary artist Nora Anluain joins us to discuss the lengths she has gone to finance her latest tour. Lasta Festival returns to the Midlands, and we look at some of the spooky season festivities on offer in Offaly ahead of Halloween. My first guest tonight is really suiting, given the recent announcement that the basic income for the arts will continue. Nora Anluain has had to get quite creative to come up with a way to raise enough funds to tour her show Ham Sandwiches and Discipline. Nora, thank you for joining me on the show this evening. Now, before we get on to talking about the show itself, could you tell me a bit about the activities you've been engaging in to make sure we actually get to see the show?
Yes, definitely. This kind of piece, Ham Sandwich, this one is like, it's my baby in a way. I love it so much, and it's kind of gone through so many formations since it's kind of the start of making it as well. And I'm just so kind of proud and happy with where it's at and seeing audiences' reactions. I know it's a piece that not only I get stuff from, but that an audience who doesn't know dance, me, the company, or GA before can still get something from. So I think I'm so determined just to get it out on the road, because I'm so passionate about it. Yeah. And I think in Ireland, the arts funding is just really lacking, and there's not enough resources to get work out there and to kind of cultivate artist practice and to actually just make work, as well as actually get it into theatres as well. And that's always the most expensive part of the whole process as well. So I think because I believe in the work so much, I'm just trying to see how I can be creative with the piece itself, but also being creative in how I get it out there as well. So I started doing kind of marathon running series. So in August I did the Frank Duffy 10 mile, and then in September I did the Dublin half marathon. And in just over a week's time now I've got the Dublin full marathon as well. And that's all going to fundraising to help get the tour on the road as well. So I'll do anything really to make it happen. And we're kind of seeing slow progress with arts, like with the basic income for artists and a few other things like that, but it's looking to see how things can be made a bit more sustainable. But I think in the immediate way now, there just still isn't enough. I think in the touring fund in the Arts Council, it was only around kind of 6 to 9 shows across all disciplines. It's arts, theatre, opera, dance, visual arts, like that got funded. So you need to start to see how you can actually get a show on the road and get it to theatres.
And why running? Was it a case of, were you a runner beforehand, or did you just think, this is a good idea? People run for kind of charities and different causes the whole time. It's a thing that's commonly done, so I'll give it a go.
Yeah, I kind of did everything in a way. I never really took running seriously. I dabbled a bit in college with it, but I never really kind of was too invested in it. But I saw two of my best friends do the Dublin Marathon last year, and I think I just found it so moving. But as a typical performer, I was like, how can I make this about me again? So I was like, I'll do it next year. And I think because NAF, the company that I run, is the thing I'm kind of most passionate about. So I thought, no matter what, I'll run it for NAF and see from there. But at the same time, I was putting together this national tour of Ham Sandwich and Discipline, and it seemed like the perfect thing to kind of aim for. And the fact that it's going on as we're touring as well, it all kind of ties in together with it. But yeah, I've grown to love it as well as hate it at the same time. I think it's nice that they tie into with each other as well, because the piece itself is all about the GA and sporting culture as well. There seems to be, even when I'm struggling on a long run, it feels connected to it as well. And kind of knowing when I'm performing as well, if there's a section of the piece that's particularly challenging and physically tiring, it's like, oh, I survived. I did the half marathon. I know I can keep going for the next half hour of the show. They kind of, in a nice way, they do feel connected. But I think physically it's hard to balance the two. But yeah, they feel part of each other in a different way at the same time.
So those are the lengths that you're going to make sure that the show gets on stage and that the people of Ireland get to witness it. Tell me about the show.
Yeah, so it all started, I think, when I saw Pat Spillane, the kind of iconic Kerry footballer and pundit on the Sunday game, and the way he was talking as he was analysing the match was just so camp and so animated. The way his hand gestures were going, it felt like a dance in itself. I just turned to my mum and said, I'll make a show about the GA. And I didn't know at that point what it was going to be, what it would become, what I even meant by kind of saying that. But I just knew it was something that kind of fascinated me. And I studied in college in Netherlands doing dance and choreography over there. And I think it kind of, it was in line with the time where I was moving back to Ireland that I started making the piece as well. So I think as it kind of developed, it became not just a depiction of the GA itself and the play, but also kind of ideas of Irishness as a whole and how we relate to ideas of Irish identity as well. So it's kind of taking these two worlds, this iconic national hub we have of the GA, and then just ideas of Irishness as a whole, but mixing it with dance, theatre, comedy, slapstick comedy. It's all very camp. It's on disco music. It's great fun at the same time. So even if you've never seen a dance show before, and I know contemporary dance can be a bit confronting or not very inviting at times, it can seem quite pretentious as well. So I'm trying to find ways that people can still feel invited to a thing that they're not familiar with as well. So whether you've never seen dance before, you might like GA and vice versa as well with that. So it always just offers a good fun night out as well.
It's interesting that you mentioned Pat Spillane specifically, because I've been working in sport myself for the past number of years, specifically GA. And obviously week in, week out, we're watching the different pundits and obviously you have your favourites. But when he used to be doing it, I remember there is just something about him. He's a real character and performer in himself. And I used to love watching him. It's a sad day that he doesn't do it as much as he used to once, but he offers us other things now. But talk me through, if someone was to come along to the show, what can they expect from it? What is the performance that they're in for?
Yeah, so we kind of use a lot of different mediums to kind of bring the world of GA across in a way. So dance is kind of the leading language in many ways, kind of in it, but it's kind of charged, it's kind of broken up by different anecdotes I tell about the GA, about growing up in the GA, in terms of even the kind of teenage discos you'd have in the local GA club and the first time going out, but it still connects to the place you play football on a Saturday morning and your parents, there are all these kind of funny things that are always connected with GA and with growing up as well, that are so intrinsically linked kind of with us. And then we have kind of amazing disco soundtrack to it as well. So we've got kind of dance, text, amazing music and fabulous kind of camp costumes as well that we've made. And it's all kind of very 80s coded as well. So all that kind of fun, nostalgic energy with kind of some amazing music, like Donna Summer and Can't Take My Eyes Off You, Frankie Valli, like all these kind of classics. A lot of people sing along as well when they're at the show, which is always kind of great fun to it as well. So it's this kind of full theatrical experience to it as well, rather than it being solely committing to kind of to one art form or medium. It has a kind of a bit of everything in it as well. And sometimes it might be quite abstract, sometimes it's very literal, but we have kind of all the characters in the GA, from the Bonner stores, the umpires, the pundits, the players themselves, the amazing mammies on the sidelines. We kind of have covered that whole universe that is the GA.
It's interesting how there seems to be a sport nearly in every country that it has that unifying effect. I'd say for the likes of maybe the UK, they're more focused on football. Obviously in America, it's American football. But for us, it's GA. And even if you have people who they don't actively play themselves or they're not very immersed in it, we all have this understanding of the GA. And as you said, we know the characters, the regulars that you get at it. But I think there is, as well as it obviously being a sport that we're all very proud of, there is a comedic level to the GA, isn't it? And I think that through doing this performance, you're really bringing that out. As I said, it's the characters, it's the people that you get, the different personalities that are GA heads. That's what seems to be coming to the fore in this performance.
Yeah, that's it, absolutely. I think there's such a distinct kind of energy to the GA as well. And we've done the show in Paris before and seeing how French audiences react to it. Like it's a very different understanding to it, but it was amazing hearing them laugh with these Irish jokes. But it's a different kind of culture that we have with it as well. And
very.
I think it's so helped with the fact that it is an amateur sport, that it's it's much more human or natural or something as well, in a really lovely, it's just so beautifully Irish and kind of messy and chaotic, but really heartwarming at the same time with it. And I think we have kind of mixtures of kind of the pop culture elements of it, with Paul Mescal has it right out as well.
Of course.
A text in it with his iconic GA shorts as well, and even the kind of one-liners that Pat Milan has. We have a kind of audio track with some of his best lines, and we made a kind of dream ballet sequence, we call it, based off the Barbie I'm Just Ken dance, using his kind of one-liners as well. So it's so intrinsically camp at the same time as being this kind of mad institutional empire we have in the country. So I think that real mixture of it being so grand but so grounded and normal at the same time creates this amazing language and feeling to it.
And that is one of the aspects, I think, of the sport that people internationally struggle to understand. The fact that it's an amateur sport, they're like, what do you mean? Like these people you consider legends and icons, they do it for free?
They work in the bank on the Monday. Like it's
they're a teacher by day, they're in the GA pitch by night, that they're stars at the weekend. But so I know that a common phrase that they use with some Irish produce, they all say that like Guinness doesn't travel well. You said you've performed this abroad. How did it travel? Was it well received? Did people get it?
Yeah, I think I was quite nervous for that in a way, because I think we'd done a few shows before with it in Ireland, and I think it was a relief to see that they do get it, or we're hitting the right note with it in a way. Because I was terrified that it in any way would seem a parody or mocking it, because I have such a love for the world of it. So I want the piece to feel like a love letter almost in a way to the GA, or kind of that Irish culture to it. And then we brought it over to Paris. I had no idea how it would land. And we did it in a kind of gallery space. It was very stripped back in terms of tech. And so the piece itself was much more exposed. But I think once we got the first laugh, I think we really were able to enjoy it and know that they were actually on board with us as well. And people who had no idea what the sport was, what on earth we were doing, I think they were able to liken it to different sports like rugby, and the Canadians liken it to ice hockey as well. So they found some elements to it that they understood in a way, in a different sense, but it was still a culture that they've even witnessed or seen in some capacity as well. So we'd love to kind of keep bringing it to an international audience as well. I think it makes it all the more exciting for us too.
And speaking of, you're touring in Ireland at the moment. Where are you going to be stopping off in? What are the stops on the domestic tour?
Yes. So we're on a national tour at the moment, all across October, November. So our next few stops are the 24th of October in Moat in the Curators Arts Centre. Then we're off to Kildare on the 29th of October in Riverbank Arts Centre. And then we've got a run in Pacific Theatre in Tala in Dublin on the 19th, 22nd of November. And then our final 2 dates, the 27th and 28th of November in Sligo. So we ticked off a few venues now already at this point, and then we're ready to get the next leg going as well. But loving the kind of mad chaos of it as well. And it's so lovely to be out on the road. It's our first national tour of the company, so we're just trying to soak it all up at the same time.
And Nora, if people want to know more about yourself and about the tour, details such as the upcoming dates, as you said, where to get tickets, and more importantly, where they can maybe support you and financially assist with it, with the running and the marathons that you're doing, where can people find more information about that?
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's the NAF Dance, or our website, so NAF Dance, is all the details for the kind of the full tour and us, the company as well. And then in the individual venues, you can get the exact details for each show there as well. So between the two, you should be all covered there.
Fantastic. Nora, thank you so much for speaking with me this evening.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
And on the topic of performing arts, there is a special screening of Yes, But Do You Care taking place in Esker Arts in Tullamore tomorrow evening, Friday, October 17th, followed by a Q&A with the artist Marie Brett. And Marie will be joining us on the show next week to talk about the work, which you can view at the venue between now and November 1st. Still to come, to steal a question from an iconic slasher. What's your favourite scary movie? Let me know yours. Drop me a message on the Midlands 103 WhatsApp or text line on 083 30 10 103.
Encore with Patters Bar in Moat, with live music every weekend and all sports showing on our big screens. Find Patters Bar Moat on Facebook or Instagram.
Midlands 103.
You are listening to Encore on Midlands 103 with Zoe Ryan. Lasta Festival has been travelling across the country and this week stopped in the Midlands. Joining me now is David Vesey, one of the two Midlands young curators tasked with putting together a programme for Dunamaise Arts Centre as part of the festival. David, tell me all about Lasta Festival.
Sure. So Lasta Festival is a festival for young people by young people. There was a call out for young curators as part of the NOSC network of venues, and the Dunamaise Arts Centre in Portlaoise, County Laois is one of those venues that is part of the NOSC network and that are taking part in this initiative. It's a really exciting festival because, as I said, it's for young people and by young people. So I myself, as a musician and artist from County Laois, I'm given the opportunity, alongside my fellow co-curator, Ellie Henry, to curate and to put together shows that we feel really will represent and I suppose inspire young artists and the artists of the future, essentially.
David, for those unfamiliar, would you be able to describe for me what the role of a curator is?
So a curator brings together and coordinates artists for a festival. In our case, we were involved in engaging the artists directly, involved in contract negotiations with the artists. And it's a huge responsibility that, you know, is often left to perhaps a venue director in the case of regional art centres, or festival directors in the case of regional festivals. So it's an amazing opportunity for us as young curators to gain, I suppose, that arts administration experience. And also, I suppose, there's a creative element to it as well, in the sense that for both myself and Ellie, we had a chat and we had decided on the theme of home as being a central theme for all of our events over the course of the weekend. So that's kind of a connecting tissue, I suppose, that runs between all of our events that we have chosen as part of the week.
So talk me through the events.
So we have a very exciting theatre event, which I'm sure Ellie will speak a little bit more about. And then for myself, as a musician, I was delighted to coordinate the music event, which is taking place on Saturday, the 18th of October. And that features the renowned singer Lisa Lamb and the legendary guitarist Steve Cooney, who will be coming to Portlaoise to perform their show Mamo, songs my grandmother gave to me. And they'll be supported on the night by the Music Generation Laois Harp Ensemble. So it promises to be a really, really exciting week of varied arts events in the Dunamaise.
And in regards to venues, is it solely based in the Dunamaise, or is it a case that you have any events going on further afield within Portlaoise?
It is solely based in the Dunamaise.
Okay.
We're really, we're delighted, I suppose, to have that space there, and we have, it's a brilliant space, and we have so many different, I suppose, modes and things that we can do within the space. So it's great.
And how was it that you got involved with this yourself? Where was it that you heard about it, and how did you go about, I suppose, applying for the position that you succeeded in being awarded?
Absolutely. I'm a musician myself. I've performed at the Dunamaise Arts Centre many times before. And as a musician growing up in County Laois, I was well aware, I suppose, of the influence of the Dunamaise and of course of all regional art centres that they have. So I became aware that the Dunamaise were running this young curator programme, and I was really excited, I suppose, to apply for it. And given the amazing opportunity is, I suppose, to develop those arts administration skills, and I suppose the skills that take place off the stage that the audience doesn't see behind the scenes. So I was delighted when I was chosen for it, and since I was chosen for the position as a young curator, I've got to travel to different arts festivals across the country, learning from mentors and the wider network, I suppose, of young curators. So it's been really, I suppose, a privilege to have that learning opportunity.
And Lasta Festival is a national festival. I know we've been focusing on what's going to be happening in the kind of Laois area, but it is actually taking place in 8 different venues across Ireland. So is it a case that your involvement is solely going to be with the Laois events, or will you have that opportunity to play a part in the other venues across the country as part of the wider festival?
Indeed. Well, my involvement will primarily be involved with the Laois event, but yes. Over the course of the past year, we've had monthly webinars and meetings with the other young curators to check in, I suppose, on how their progress is going from their own venues, be it Sím Shatira in Tralee or Glór in Ennis or the Lime Tree Theatre in Limerick and so on. And I mean, it's been, I suppose, inspiring to see how the other venues approach curating and their programming of events. And also it's been great just, I suppose, to build that network of fellow curators and like-minded artists of our own age.
Yeah, definitely. And tell me, what's next for you? So as you've said there, this has taken up an awful lot of your time this year in particular. What's the next project that you're going to be moving on to when Lasta Festival has passed?
We'll see. Over the course of the past year, I also released my debut album, Carolan Reflections, which features the music of Turlough O'Carolan. So I have some concerts coming up as part of that before the end of the year. And then for 2026 and going onwards, I'd love to, create more myself, and I might take my curating experience that I've gained over the course of the past year as a young curator as part of that, perhaps, somewhere down the line, setting up my own festival one day, perhaps.
Fantastic. And if that was the case that you had the opportunity to do your own festival, what route do you think you would take with it? What would your kind of hook be, or your main kind of draw to it?
Well, as a musician, I mean, I hold a dear place in my heart to traditional Irish music and classical music as well. But I mean, I'm a lover of all arts, and I really think the arts have such an important place in society in terms of reflecting, I suppose, what people are thinking, what the consciousness of what sometimes there's a saying about music. Music speaks when voices are silent, and it can really tell a story when words fail. So I do think that music has such a powerful place. So I think whatever festival I decide to do, or if that day comes, music will have to be a central part of that.
And David, whilst I have you, because I actually haven't had the opportunity to ask an artist this, since the basic income for the arts, since the announcement that it is going to be extended, which is obviously fantastic news for the arts community, could you comment on when you heard that news, what your initial thought was, and how, I suppose, important it is that it is being continued for you as someone who works in the arts?
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, it's great to see that the arts are supported. We are very lucky in Ireland, that we have, I suppose, the Arts Council. We have Culture Ireland, which helps supports touring abroad. I was very lucky myself in my own journey to record my album that I received funding from both the Arts Council and Laois County Council, and that was a huge support to me at the time. So I think, supporting the arts is, it's a real benefit to society in so many ways, and it can give back to society in so many ways as well, and give, I suppose, voices to underrepresented communities. I always think, as a rural artist, we kind of speak to a different voice as well. And then recently I saw the play Poor at the Gate Theatre, and that gave, I suppose, a voice as well, to different communities and things like that. So the arts are just, an invaluable part of society, I suppose, and any support for them is always welcome.
Absolutely. David, thank you so much for giving me your time this evening and for speaking with us. And I hope that the festival goes well for you.
That's great. Thanks very much, Zoe.
Up next, we'll be hearing from the other half of the curating duo.
Surprise yourself with the all-new 252 Suzuki range at Hugo Luna Motors. Suzuki's Japanese quality is ready to stand out and make you feel proud every time you drive. Whether it's the zippy Swift or the adventure-ready S-Cross, enjoy 0% finance, handy tech, safety features and great value as standard. All wrapped in the fun and efficiency of a hybrid. The only tough part? Choosing which car to drive. Visit hugolunamotors.ie today, where we're not just different, we're good different.
Finance subject status, terms and conditions apply.
Encore with Patters Bar in Moat, with live music every weekend and all sports showing on our big screens. Find Patters Bar Moat on Facebook or Instagram. Midlands 103.
It is Encore with Zoe Ryan, where we've been talking about Lasta Festival, the festival that celebrates theatre and performance made by young people for young people. Now, festivities got underway in Dunamaise Arts Centre in Portarlington last night and will continue until Saturday, October 25th. We've just heard from David Vesey. Now we have Ellie Lee Henry. Ellie, how was it that you got involved with Lasta, and what role is it that you were going to play now that the festival is in full swing?
Well, I am a theatre maker originally based in Kildare and now in Dublin, and I had a contact who'd been involved with them before, and they thought that it would be a great opportunity to learn more about the producing element of theatre specifically on my end, but obviously it's kind of a multidisciplinary event. So it was a fantastic opportunity to kind of broaden my scope of the arts and my involvement therein. So they had sent out the form, and I got really lucky to get involved with Dunamaise, which was the closest art centre involved to where I had been living at the time. And so my focus within our kind of duo was on the theatre element more so than the music element. And I got very lucky that I got to engage with multiple shows as part of this programme. We were in the Galway Arts Festival and then the Dublin Fringe Festival last year. Very cool. We got to meet with really amazing emerging artists and established artists. And I got in contact with Trip Hazard Theatre, who are a new group who are making really exciting kind of dark and comedic work.
Okay.
And they have a fantastic show called The Zombie Monologues, which was premiered, I believe, about 2 years ago. I could be slightly wrong on that, but they had been working on another piece in the meantime that I got to see called The Last Wolf in Ireland in Smock Alley. And I thought it would be a fantastic chance to bring back Zombie Monologues because it's such a great show. And they were 100% down for it, and they're a fantastic kind of smaller company. And we got really lucky that they were happy to engage with us and come out to Dunamaise for this week. And also there is a showing of a local artist's work going up to pair with the Zombie Monologues in the main room at the Dunamaise Arts Centre, this kind of shrunken head zombie-esque exhibition that I'm really happy to have gotten in. And that would be kind of the scale of my involvement with the events. David has really taken the lead on the music event on Saturday, which has been fantastic to see come together.
And the Zombie Monologues, that is one of your picks for the kind of showing of the festival in Laois.
100%, that's correct, yeah.
And Ellie, you would be considered to be a young professional in this area. That's why you come to be involved in this festival and why you were eligible, I suppose, for it, because it is aimed at that younger professional in it. How important do you think it is that there is a platform like this where professionals of a younger age can get, I suppose, an early sense or a foot in the door into the industry?
It's massively essential. I think one of the hardest parts working, I can only really speak for theatre from my background, but there's such a gap between the training of theatre in all of its different forms, whether you're behind the scenes or on the stage, and then actually engaging with the professional industry in Ireland. There's kind of a gap with trying to get your foot in the door. So these programmes really bridge that gap of people either in the middle of training or coming out of training or completely unrelated to theatre or the arts in the first place, and managing to make them feel really involved in some of the most exciting new work going on with all of the emerging festivals around and the push festivals around Ireland. So I think it's hugely essential. I'm really grateful that this opportunity is presented every year to so many people around the country.
Mm-hmm. And what's next for you? Obviously, the festival is going to be coming to an end shortly. It's obviously taken up a lot of your time as of late. What's the next project for you that you're going to be moving on to?
Well, currently we're establishing kind of a smaller theatre company called Grey Roots Theatre Company, and we're in the middle of development on a couple of really exciting pieces, but I'm also directing a play called The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, based on the book, in January in Dublin. I'm really excited. I get to engage with No Drama Theatre Company, who are a fantastic group who've brought me in to direct this piece, and I'm really excited for it.
What would your advice be, I suppose, to anybody who's listening, who's looking to get into the area that you work in, or maybe they've been in it for a while and they're just not making any headway? What would your advice be to them?
It's really difficult, but my motto has always been that I'm trying to make the work that isn't presented to me. So whether or not it is what I'm able to do full time in the moment, I'm often not. They're funding and being able to get fully funded is really difficult. But the more that you are just presenting and really curious and engaging with work in the arts and going to see shows, the more people that you'll meet who are doing the exact same thing. And everyone in this industry, from high to low, is just trying to give everyone else a leg up most of the time. So you'll find the people around you that you want to engage with as a creative, and they will help bring you along when you can't bring yourself along, and then you'll turn around and do the same thing for them.
Yes, I know from myself, from personal experience, that the media industry is very like that as well. It's not one of your stereotypical traditional career paths, I suppose, like if you would say study to be a doctor or a teacher or a business professional. You go to school, you qualify, and you walk into, I'm not saying it's easy, but there are jobs out there available and are designed specifically for that. These type of jobs, the ones in the media industry and the arts, sometimes they're not publicised, they're not advertised. You don't just send in a CV and apply for one and get it. It is very much about who you know. It's about circumstance, right place, right time. So it is really important that there are festivals like this where people can get involved and, I suppose, showcase their talent in the hope that someone's going to be there and that they'll be able to see it, and maybe that's the next gig.
100%. It's luck is definitely an element in this industry, but the important thing is to keep engaging long enough that you're there when the luck happens to you.
Yes.
In so many ways, because you could always be a moment away from the thing that will get you propelled to the next stage.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to keep that atmosphere going. So these festivals are massive for engaging that kind of talent.
And something that I touched on with David was, obviously last week we had the fantastic news that the basic income from the arts is going to be continued on, because a lot of artists would have felt that is what allowed them to continue their craft. It is a precarious work platform that you don't always know when the next gig or the next show is going to be. So that allows people working in the arts to continue working on their craft and have the security that the bills are going to be paid, that they don't have to, I suppose, succumb to your 9-to-5 job when these are people who should be working in the creative industry. So what would your kind of views be or comments on that basic income for the arts being extended?
I think security is bottom line the most difficult thing to attain in the arts industry in Ireland, like consistent security. I found talking to professionals of all ages. Yeah. And we were lucky to attend the Performing Arts Forum where this was a discussion recently, and a couple of other events. And the ability to feel that you are not only obviously appreciated and engaged with by the country for your art, because we punch well above our weight on the international stage in that regard. But there is kind of a sorrow that we have probably lost so many fantastic artists to a lack of ability to give them security and funding to pursue their craft over the years, that they've had to attain other jobs or attain other career paths because this wasn't going to be a viable way to continue living, especially with the current market the way that it is. And so steps like this that have been fought for so hard by so many artists and people in the government to keep this going is so unbelievably essential for getting really new and engaging art that we might not see funded otherwise. And that's really exciting.
Ellie, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me this evening, and best of luck with the festival. It sounds like it's shaping up to be a really lovely piece that obviously yourself and David and everyone involved have put a lot into. So I hope that you get the showing of people showing up to it and enjoying and engaging in the arts that you're hoping to out of it.
Thank you so much. I hope to see as many people there that are able to make it. It'll be an absolute joy.
For full details on all Lasta events taking place in Portlaoise, you can check out Dunamaise Arts Centre's website. Up next, do you have your Halloween movie marathon planned out yet? If not, you might get some inspiration from my next guest.
Encore with Patters Bar in Moat, with live music every weekend and all sport showing on our big screens. Find Patters Bar Moat on Facebook or Instagram.
Midlands 103.
Can you believe we are into the final segment of tonight's instalment of Encore already? Now, whether you're like me, you watch a scary movie and need to be accompanied to the toilet afterwards out of fear that something's just going to pop up out of the shadows, or you actually keep your eyes open whilst the helpless teenage cheerleader meets her gruesome end at the hands of the town's serial killer. Halloween, in other words, the scary movie and horror film extravaganza, is just around the corner. I'm joined now by marketing and box office manager of Esker Arts in Tullamore, Lee Hamilton, to discuss their upcoming spooky season offerings. Lee, thanks a million for coming out to the studio this evening.
Thanks a million for having me, Zoe.
Lee, tell me all about Eagla Fest.
Absolutely. So Eagla Fest, it's in its third year now, and for those of your listeners that don't know, Eagla is fear, so it's kind of playing on the Fear Fest as a good name for a horror film festival, kind of pulling in that Irish connection there. So we're in our third year now. The first year was all folk horror, the second year was witches, and now for the third year we're going with the vampires. So I'm kind of decided to go with vampires based on the zeitgeist that's there at the minute. You know, we had Nosferatu late last year and earlier this year, and then we had Sinners as well, which was another major box office hit during the summer. So I thought vampires was the way to go for this year's season.
And you've everything from your classic horror to children-appropriate films to documentaries and even a live music performance. Yeah,
so it's a wide-ranging festival. As you say, there's something there for everyone. You know, I was keen to ensure that it is also very accessible. So there's actually, the documentary is free for people. So if they don't want to, if they're not able to pay for the tickets to go to the other thing, at least there's still a way for them to engage in the programme. Yes. And then, as you said as well, we've got Hotel Transylvania for the kids.
A very popular one.
A very popular one. And actually an interesting fact about that, Adam Sandler plays Dracula in that.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, very few people do. And after Christopher Lee, he's the person that has played Dracula more than anybody else, which is an strange kind of fact.
Okay, so in what else does Adam Sandler play Dracula?
In the other Hotel Transylvania films.
Okay. So there's not actually two, that's twice. So there's not too many people who've done a repeated Dracula type thing.
No, there's not that many.
And so talk me through the lineup then, the programme that you have in place across from the 22nd to 25th of October.
Absolutely. So we start on the 22nd, you say, and we start with a real big classic, Bram Stoker's Dracula. So that would be one that a lot of people would be familiar with. It's the Francis Ford Coppola film from the 1990s starring Gary Oldman. Yeah. And it is just a stunning film to watch, and it has a completely star-studded cast. Like I said there, Gary Oldman plays Dracula, but you've also got Anthony Hopkins in it, you've got Keanu Reeves, you know, lots of really big names. So it's a great draw for people, and as a film it's really, really visually stunning. You know, Coppola goes out of his way to kind of present us with something that's a feast to behold, not just for the vampires but for us too. So then we move on to our second film, and this is quite exciting because the second film is Daughters of Darkness, and we actually have the director of the film joining us for that screening. So Harry Kamel is his name, and the film is from the 1970s. It's this Belgian vampire film based on the character of Elizabeth Bathory, which was a real figure that many people believe to have been a vampire. She's alleged to have kind of bathed in the blood of young women locally. So she's kind of this myth has been kind of built up around her. And this film, it's really, really interesting. It takes a couple of different tacks. Not only is it horror, but it also kind of looks at kind of male-female relationship dynamics. Like the male character in it, he doesn't treat his partner very well at all, and that kind of pushes her into the arms of the Countess Bathory in this film. So there's an awful lot of kind of LGBT subtext. Well, not subtext. It's very much ingrained into the film. So that's another interesting kind of angle, and that's the interesting things with vampires. Often kind of themes of sexuality, of love, of addiction comes up with the vampire. vampire, because there's just so much depth to them as characters, and people can explore them in so many different ways.
Yeah.
And then we move on to our third film, which is A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. A little bit less well known than some of the others that we have in the lineup. It features it's a Iranian vampire film. So it was made in 2017, but it's filmed in black and white. And it's a very kind of noir kind of film. There's nearly a kind of a detective kind of vibe to it at times. So another really, really interesting one. And
that one actually stood out to me in the lineup. It was because the title alone is quite chilling. A Girl Walks Home at Night, something that seems so simple, but as we know, through the years historically has been a very sinister act.
Absolutely. But that title actually turns things on its head, because the girl is the vampire.
Okay, I like it. Yeah.
So it kind of, from the off, it's kind of throwing expectations. We'd go in
to be the opposite.
Yeah, we're expecting the female character to be the victim in this, but actually she's the hunter.
Right.
In this
okay. Film. I like it. I like it. A bit of a different one.
Absolutely. And then, as you say, we've got Hotel Transylvania for the kids. We've got a documentary, In Search of Dracula, with Mark Gatiss, which kind of just looks at various Dracula adaptations down through the years, from your Bela Lugosi right up to Adam Sandler, as I mentioned earlier, as well. And obviously Christopher Lee features in that, one of the most iconic vampire actors, and it was great to get him into the festival in a way, because he's not in any of the main films that we're featuring, but we've still managed to get him in there as an iconic thing. Yeah. And then kind of the grand finale of this year's Eagla Fest season is Nosferatu, the original one from 1922, and for that we've got a live score with Rita and Robbie Perry. So they've performed the score before with Bram Stoker's Bram Stoker Festival in Dublin. It's an annual festival, all featuring on vampires, obviously,
course,
and the iconic Bram Stoker, the writer of Dracula. And I'm delighted to say that Gutha Institute Ireland have actually sponsored us to put this on. So we have a relationship there with them, which is really exciting, because they do great work in educating people about the German language.
And tell me, why is it that you decided to do it? You said it's in its third year. So why was it you decided to do this festival to kind of mark, as I said, the spooky season?
Well, I'm a massive horror fan, always have been. And Sean, our director in Esker Arts, he came to me early on saying, we want to do something for Halloween. And I'd already kind of made it well known to Sean at that stage that I was a massive horror fan.
This was actually your Halloween playlist, and you just said, do you know what, let's put it on in the Arts Centre.
Realistically, it's just a chance for me to watch films I really like on the big
screen. Yeah.
You know, so very selfish there, I know, but everybody else now, as a result, is getting to see these classics of the genre, the lesser known films of the genre, and get to experience everything it has to offer, because often horror is kind of at the cutting edge of cinema and film, even though it mightn't get the recognition, let's say, from the Academy and stuff like that. It's always pushing out the boat. It's always been a way for kind of filmmakers and directors to kind of hone their talent and establish themselves quite early. So it's just really exciting for me to get to see these incredible films on the big screen in Esker.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say about how horrors, they definitely don't get the recognition, but they do actually, historically, they have been pushing the boundaries, exploring styles that maybe other genres don't tend to delve into. But I think it's a very misunderstood genre as well.
It is. It's Marmite for people. You know what I mean? Not everybody is psycho like me that wants to go in and be terrified watching a film. But so I think because of that, a lot of people maybe look down their nose at it a little bit.
Okay.
They don't see it as the same kind of gravitas as other film genres. But really, you know, it is a place for innovation in cinema, and you know, there's very little kind of other genres that allows filmmakers to play in the way that they can with horror.
I get you. And did you actually have much of a say in the lineup? I know we joked that it was just your playlist, but did you actually have much of a say in saying, I think these are good contenders for the festival?
Oh, absolutely. You know, Sean has been happy to leave it up to me, for me to go away and kind of pick the films that I think work best as a unit. And I actually think this year's festival is the strongest unit of films that we've put together. Not to kind of diss on the work I've done already with the other horror film festivals.
It's improving year on year.
It is, absolutely. But I think it has a really wide variations, and we kind of span cinema from the early 1920s right up to kind of the modern day. Yeah. And it's a real kind of delight and pleasure to see these films presented like this.
And if you were to say to someone who's maybe looking at it going, God, I want to see them all, which one would you maybe advise people to pop along to that would be your top pick from the list?
I suppose I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna pick two. I'm gonna go with The Daughters of Darkness because not only is it a stunning film, we're going to have the director there himself.
Yes,
so it'd be an opportunity
lore
for people to kind of chat with him, to ask him questions about what they thought these things meant in the film. So that's kind of really exciting. And then obviously getting to see the original Nosferatu with a live score, that's going to be incredible, you know. It's not a normal way that people get to experience film with live music there. Yeah. So as an experience, it's so unique, and I think people would get a lot out of it, and it'd be a cracking way to spend their Saturday night just before Halloween.
Definitely. And Lee, if people do want to find out more about the festival and details such as booking tickets, etc., where do they go?
So they'll be able to head over to eskerarts.ie. All of the films are on sale at the minute. And yeah, you can just have a scroll through there. It's running from the 22nd to the 25th of October. Great way to set yourself up for Halloween and the spooky season and get a few chills and terrors along the way.
Fantastic. Well, there you have it. If you are a big fan of horror, or even if you're not, maybe it's a good opportunity for you to pop along to see that. Lee, thank you so much for coming in to us this evening.
Thanks a million, Zoe.
And an exhibition worth making your way down to at Esker Arts is Through Our Eyes, a project of the Awfully Traveller Movement Youth done in collaboration with local artist Tina Claffey. And we will be having a piece on Encore next week looking in depth into that exhibition. But it's worth noting that it is in place in Esker Arts up until the 25th. So if you are interested in getting along to it between now and then, do pop along. But we will be having a feature on it on next week's show. I think it's fair to say that a common theme of tonight's show has been a confirmation that the government have absolutely made the right decision in the budget to continue the basic income for the arts scheme. It is a topic that we have touched on over the last couple of months since it was in question if it will continue on after its current run comes to an end in February. So, I mean, we heard there that the lengths that one artist was going to bring her show to the stage. She's quite literally running marathons to raise enough capital to do that. So it's great to see that that scheme is going to be kept in place to allow our artists to continue doing the work that they do and assist them with the financial cost that comes with that. That's all for me tonight. Up next, you have the best in Irish and American country music with Country Roads. Until next week, good night.